Yeah, if you all can hear me, please say yes. Welcome to this session where we are going to do a little bit about coding. We're going to talk about coding over here. All that very specifically, TCS Ninja previously asked coding questions. Yesterday we did a lot of coding questions. Let me just pull up what are some of the questions we did yesterday. We looked at questions binary numbers from the range 1 to n. So yeah, just checking the mic is working. We looked at the question binary numbers from range 1 to n, position of person from origin, converting from base 17 to decimal, Fibonacci series sum, string arrangement we didn't look at. Let's have a look at it today. We looked at Fibonacci prime and auction number as well. Right. So these are some of the questions we looked at yesterday. We can pick up more questions today. So if you have any specific questions, do let me know, and I'm more than happy to take them up. Otherwise, we will look at some other ones as well. So yeah. And yeah, so any questions from your side, do let me know which questions you would like to have. I have 3 questions prepared, in the sense 3 questions I think will be useful, but we can take more questions if you have any particular question in mind. So do let me know that. I'll just wait to hear on the chat if there are any questions. And if there are, then let me know. Otherwise, we'll take it up. Others, I'll take up some questions. So yeah, do let me know if any question is there which you would like to discuss today from TCS Ninja. Right, I'm just checking the chat. Any questions? Right. Nothing specific. All right, doesn't look like anything specific. So okay, we'll look at some of the questions that I had planned, and yeah, then we can take it forward from there. All right, cool. So decimal to hexadecimal conversion. All right, thank you for that. How can you convert decimal to hexadecimal? Sure thing. So let's have a look of that one. Decimal. So today we'll take up number 1, decimal to hexadecimal. Right. What else? There's a couple of easier questions as well that I had planned. Let me just open them up also. Prime Fibonacci combinations. I think we already covered that yesterday. So we took that up yesterday. Yes, another couple of ones that I want to check. Perfect square after adding 1. That was one of the questions. Then these are TCS Ninja questions, by the way. So these are the possible questions you can get in TCS Ninja. What else? I wanted to also check 2 more questions. String arrangement is there for sure. We did look at the string arrangement. And what was the other ones? Odd length pattern. Somebody saying right arrow pattern. All right, sure. Let's look at right arrow pattern as well. We've discussed this a couple of times, but yeah, let's have a look at it anyways. Right arrow pattern. Okay, someone has shared a very interesting one. One person hands over the list of digits to Mr. String. Also understands how Mr. String needs your help to find the total number of pairs which add up to a certain digit D. Could you give me a little bit more information in that, because it's not super helpful what you mentioned. Right. So I'll look at these questions right now, and as and when you have more questions, please let me know. I'll take them up as well. Okay. All right. So let me just open decimal to hexadecimal as well. I believe we have that somewhere. 1 second. Right. I'm just opening that up. Give me 1 minute. So you said decimal to hexadecimal, right? I believe we have it here. 1 second. All right, we have decimal to octal. Okay, cool. We'll do our decimal to hexadecimal. No, no worries. 1 second. All right, let's start looking at the logic for it, at least. Decimal to hexadecimal, decimal to hexadecimal, right? So what did we say? That anytime you are given a decimal number and you wanted to convert it to a another base, right? So in this case the base is 16, right? Hexadecimal is 16. If I want to convert a base decimal to base 16, what I need to do is take that particular decimal number and keep dividing by 16. So for example, let's say I am giving you the number 90, right? Now I want to convert 90, which is in base 10. I want to convert this to base 16, right? So 1 second. Yeah. So I want to figure out what is it in base 16. This is the question. Now, in order to do this, what you do is you keep representing 90 as some quotient into base plus remainder, right? And you keep doing this until your quotient becomes 0, right? So until your quotient becomes 0, you keep doing this. For example, you do 90 is equal to, what will it be into 16? So 16 fives are 80. Yeah, 5 into 16 would be 80. And then the remainder would be 10. So here you have a remainder as 10, right? Now you take the quotient, which is 5, and you say 5 is equal to, this will be 0 into 16 plus 5, right? If I'm not mistaken. Yeah, correct. Right. And then you take 0, and that's it. You stop here because you got the number as 0 here. So your answer again is you take the remainders in reverse order. You'll take the remainders in reverse order. What are the remainders in reverse order here? It's 5 and 10. Now in hexadecimal, you take this 10 digit and you represent it as A. So the answer comes out to be as 5A, right? It comes out to be 5A. So here it would be 90 base 10 is 5A base 16. That's what you get. All right. So that's how it works out over here. Okay. Just to let you all know that who don't know, so the digits in hexadecimal are as follows. In hexa are, you have your 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, but then after 9 comes A, comes B, C, D, E, and F. You go up till F because A is a digit, which is 10, B is the digit 11, C is the digit 12, and so on up till F, which is 15. So if I'm doing base 16, I need to have 16 digits. I need to have 16 digits. Now in my usual digits, I only have 10 digits, right? So I need to add 6 more digits, and I do that using A, B, C, D, E, F. So this is how you would convert it to from a decimal to a hexadecimal. We'll look at the code also for it. 1 second. I'm just opening up my code editor because this will not be there. It is not there on this platform as such. So I'll just open it up on the code editor. And give me 1 second. All right, so just opening it up. Yeah, so this is my code editor. Just gonna put it here. And yeah, it's just slowing down a bit. Cool. So let's say we take input. We take a particular decimal number as input. So let's say n is equal to int input. This is the decimal number. Okay. This is the particular, one second. Oh, yeah, this is the particular input we've taken. Now we need to convert this input into a hexadecimal value. How would I convert this to a hexadecimal value? As I said, I have to keep dividing by 16, right? So I'm going to actually have to keep dividing by 16. So yeah, so let's say base is equal to 16, right? I'll have to keep dividing by 16. So while n not equal to 0, right? I'll divide by 16 and I'll take that answer, and I'm going to whatever remainder I get, I'm going to prepend it to the answer. So let the answer is blank over here initially, and we'll have to keep it as a string because we are going to have digits which are non-numbers, right? So I say n is equal to rather quotient is equal to n divided by 16, remainder is equal to n modulo 16, right? So you got a remainder over here. This is n modulo 16, and now what you're going to do is this remainder, you have to find the right digit for it, right? You have to actually find the right digit for it. So I'll say digit is equal to, let me create another array. Let's say digits of remainder, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a list called digits, which is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, a, or rather actually we can do even better. Let's not even create a list, let's just create a string, right? It would be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, a, b, c, d, e, f. Now what's going to happen is if this remainder is 0, we will pick 0 from here. If this remainder is 1, we are going to pick 1 from here, and so on all the way up until if the remainder is 15, we are going to take f from here. We create answer as a blank. All we say is answer is equal to, remember that each remainder is prepended to the answer. So we say digit plus answer. That's what we'll say. And finally, just print the answer. Okay. So if I actually run this, let's say for example, I start with that. Right. So let's say I start with 90 itself. So my output should ideally be, okay, one second. I have gone into an infinite loop because we have not divided n by 16 as well. N is equal to n divided by 16. We needed to do this also. Hence I ended up in an infinite loop. Now if I do it, I'll get 90, and the output, did we not print? Yeah, we got it. Output we got as 5a, just as we saw over there, right? So the output we got as 5a, and for the input we had given 90. Similarly, if you give, like, let's say the input 16 itself, you should ideally get 10 over here, right? So that's what you got, 10. And yeah, you can take any number over here. Let's say for example I want to take 1000, right? So 1000 would be 3e8 in hexadecimal, 3e8, right? That's what you get when it comes to, yeah, that's what you get when it comes to um, converting decimal to hexadecimal. All right, so this is how you convert it. Again, you keep dividing by 16. You take the modulo. The modulo is the one that's important here because the remainder is the one which you're going to prepend to this number. Now, which remainder? It could be either one of the numbers 0 to 9, or it could be a, b, c, d, e, or f, right? And how do we know if it's a, b, c, d, e, f? We just use the remainder index to figure out. So a is at 10th index, b is 11th, c is 12th, d is 13, e is 14, and f is 15, right? So depending on the index, we kind of figure out. Okay. So that was decimal to hexadecimal. The person who asked me, did you get the answer over here? Somebody asked me this question. So did you understand this? Did you understand this? Do you want me to repeat? Please let me know. Okay, I'm just waiting. Person who asked me this, do let me know if you understood it or not. Right. Others, did you understand? Do you have any doubts in this one? Does anybody else have doubt? Okay, you got it. Super. Thank you. Others, if you have doubts, let me know. Right. Do let me know if you have doubts in this. Otherwise, we are done with this one. All right. Okay. We'll look at some other questions. We'll look at some other questions also meanwhile. All right, so let's look at this question. Perfect square after adding 1. All right, so let's pick that question up. What is this question? Perfect square after adding 1. Okay. Here we go. So the question is given as follows. Given an integer n, check whether the given number n can be made a perfect square after adding 1 to it. So if I add 1 to this number, can it become a perfect square or not? Right. In Python, this is kind of easy to figure out, right? It's quite like, it's simple to figure out in the sense that, but in other languages it may not be. So I'll tell you here. For example, here what we're supposed to do is I take int n is equal to int input, right? I want to know if n plus 1 is a perfect square or not, right? So what I want to check, let's say, check underscore n is equal to n plus 1, and I want to figure out if n plus 1 is a perfect square or not. So how could I do it? How can I find the square root in what I just need to do is I need to figure out the square root of n plus 1, or either check n, is it a perfect integer or not, right? Okay, so one of the ways I could do it is, let's say, I'll say root is equal to check n raised to 0.5. I can do this in Python because I have an exponent operator right away. So I can just raise it to half and I can get a square root. And I can check if root into root is equal to check n. That is if the, or rather, if I guess we can do it like this also. No, we should not do it like that. If I do it like this, if root into root is equal to check n, then we can sort of figure out that it's a perfect square or not. You'll have to do some data typecasting and so on. But I'll not go through this way because this will not help everybody, because this only help Python students. C, C++, Java, you'll think, sir, how do I do the square root here, right? So I'm not going to do that. I'll instead do another way. I'll say check n is n plus 1, and I'll say I'm supposed to print either yes or no, right? So I'll say if is a perfect square, check n, then I'll print yes, right? Else I'll print no. Okay, and what I'll do is I'll define this is perfect square, define is underscore perfect underscore square, let's say for some x, right? So I'll define a function which will check if this x is a perfect square or not, right? So this is how you guys can all do it, and for any language basically. And what I'll do is I'll start with I is equal to 1, okay? While I into I is less than equal to x, what I'll do is I'll check if I into I is equal to x. That means x is a perfect square. You are able to find a particular square which is two number, or a one number which squared can reach x. So it's a perfect square. So I'll just say return true if possible, right? Else, sorry, not else. And what you do is I is equal to I plus 1. So you keep increasing I. If I goes beyond the possible square root of x, we should just return false, right? Return false. So if we have actually broken out of this loop, means we could not find a single square root of x, and then we return false. If we found a square root of x, then it would have returned true within this loop itself. Okay. So again, the logic here, I know I went directly the code without doing the logic. That's not the right way. You should first write the logic. But I figure out, I take the input n. I have to check for n plus 1. So I'm going to say, okay, take this check n and see if it's a perfect square or not. If it is a perfect square, so I'll start from 1 and I'll keep trying out different numbers, whether they can square up to x or not, right? If they can square up to x, you return true. If they can't, their square has gone beyond x, then you can return false. Till it is less than x, it's possible to reach a square of x. The moment it goes beyond, I'm just going to return false. Okay, so now let me just run this. It works out because 24, I can add 1 to it and I get 25, and 25 is a perfect square, so it's possible. And when I submit it, it passes all the test cases, right? This is the level of questions you can expect. Difficult apart from this. This is the kind of level that you can sort of expect in TCS Ninja. All right, is that clear, everybody? This question. Does this make sense? This question. Do let me know. Yes, no, please do let me know on that. Okay, so somebody's saying, but maybe for large numbers it can get time limit exceeded. Yeah, good point. It can get time limit exceeded for like really large numbers. So there's a faster way of searching for squares, right? You can actually do binary search when you're trying to search for the square root of something, right? However, again, I don't think you're going to get too large a number over here. Right? You're not going to get large, like super large numbers over here. It's TCS Ninja. They're not going to ask you too much. If it is, then you can apply binary search, right? How do you actually apply binary search here? Well, what you could do is you could take I is equal to x divided by 2, right? And you can then go like, if this square is greater than x, you go to the left side. So you go like divide this by 2 further. If this square is lesser than x, you go to the right side. So you can apply binary search, which is much faster, right? So that's one thing. Somebody is asking, sir, what to do if you got time limit exceeded? Again, I don't think you're going to get over here. But in the case that you do get, you can just apply binary search here. But 99%, I don't think you'll get time limit exceeded in a TCS Ninja for this code. Okay. Because see, I mean, even if this is what I'm trying to tell you, even if your number is a million, right? Even if your number is 1 million, in 1,000 iterations, you'll get the answer here because 1,000 square is the answer. So, and I don't think they'll give you numbers that big, like more than a million. Okay. So I think it's completely fine without you optimizing the code. Somebody's saying, can you repeat once? Sure thing. See, in here, the question was basically, if I take a particular number n, I want to know if I add 1 to it, is it a perfect square or not? So I said, okay, add 1 to it. I did here n plus 1. I added actually 1 to it. And after adding 1 to it, I pass it to a function saying, is it a perfect square? How do I find out if it's a perfect square or not? I'll say, okay, x is there. I don't do I is equal to x by 2. This is my explanation. I start from I is equal to 1. I'll keep increment. I'll say, is 1 square equal to x? No. Is it less than x? Yes. So you go forward, right? I'll keep going forward. So I'll say 1 square is equal to x? No. 2 square is equal to x? No. 3 square is equal to x? No. We'll keep going. In our case, 5 square is 25. It's equal to x. So we return true. Let's say 5 square is greater than x, which means that anything above 5 will also be greater than x. If 5 square is greater than x, so 6 square, 7 square, 8 square, all are going to be greater than x for sure. So at that time, we break from this loop and we'll return false. At that time, we're going to break from this loop and we're going to return false over here. Right? Did you understand that? The person who asked me to repeat, did you understand this part? Hope you understood it. Let me know if you've understood it. Okay, super. So that was this question. Yeah. Okay. If there are other questions, let me know. Somebody's sharing a question here. Yeah, I'm not able to get it in your chat comments. So okay, somebody is asking another one. K1 is equal to n into this. K2 is equal to int of n. If both are equal, then also it gets answer. Yes, you're right. If you do the square root directly from Python, then also you can get the answer. I avoided that because there are a lot of non-Python students here. I wanted to show him the brute force way of how to do it without doing it that way. Okay. All right. Somebody's asking. Okay. Somebody's putting a question on the chats. I'm not able to get the entire question there. as I mentioned yesterday, if you can email team@edyst.com. I may not be able to check it now, but for tomorrow's session, I can definitely check it. But please do email it. That will be much better, right? To team@edyst.com. All right, let's check out string arrangement. Let's look at this question called string arrangement. Second, just opening it up. Otherwise, what's up, everybody? How is the placement preparation going? What companies have you attempted today? Any companies that you attempted today? Please let me know. In this week, what are the companies you attended? How did it go? Did you get an opportunity? Did not get an opportunity? Let me know how's it going. Accenture? Okay. What is the kind of, did you get coding questions in Accenture this time? Any coding questions in Accenture? Okay, cool. All right, let's start with this question called yes. Okay, what level was the coding question? Was it too difficult? Virtusa, nice. How was the Virtusa? Hope it went well. Yeah, it's complete placement time right now. Okay, let's go to this question called string arrangement. Okay, so what's this question string arrangement all about? Write a program to get 3 strings as input. In the first string, replace the vowels with quotes. In the second string, replace the consonant with asterisks. In the third string, convert the lowercase letter to uppercase. Right. So you'll be given any. In the first one, you have to take the vowels, convert it to code. In the second one, take the consonants and convert it to star. And here, take the lowercase and convert to uppercase. So you're supposed to do 3 different things. Now, there's no secret here. In Python, this is just a 3-line code. Honestly, it's super simple. I'll actually show it to you as well. But then I'll show you the non-Python version also. Like if you had to do it in another language, so I'll show you there. So let's say word 1 is equal to input, right? And in this one, whatever are the vowels, I need to change it with the quotes. Okay? So change vowels with quotes, right? I believe there's a replace function also, but even if there isn't, I can go to like for alpha in word, right? If alpha in, and I just want the vowels, right? So I can say A, E, I, O, U or A, E, I, O, U. If it is one of these, I'll say print quotes, right? I'm just going to print the quotes over here, and I'll not give anything, right? If this is the case, else I'll just print the alpha as it is. I'll just print the alpha as it is, right? And again, give just a blank thing over here, right? And so word is not defined, yeah, because it's word 1. It should be word 1 here. Yeah. So if I run this, I think the first one comes out right. So like Edyst is there. For the first one, this becomes quote. So it's okay. In the next one, what you need to do is do the same thing. So I take here. Here, all I need to do is instead of, so I'll do word 2 is equal to input. Here, change consonants with asterisks. Put asterisks here. So again, if here this time, if this was a vowel, I did this. I'll say if alpha not in that. So if it's a consonant, then I'm going to put asterisks. I'm going to print asterisks over here, right? Else, I'm going to print the alphabet as is. So if I, sorry, not word 1, it should be word 2. Right? So if I run this now, for Java, J and V have disappeared and it's only asterisks, right? We are also getting, by the way, an extra star at the end because there's an extra space at the end. So to do that, you can also just do input dot strip, by the way. This removes the extra stuff at the end. I'll put that here also. So again, a handy tip, if you are going to do in taking input in Python, then do dot strip. So see, the last star has gone away. Now you are only left with this last one, in which all the lowercase should be converted to uppercase. So again, super simple to do in Python. I'll do word3 is equal to 3 is equal to input, and I just have to print the upper of this one. So I'll print word3 dot upper, right? And it's just print upper character of good morning. I'm going to print an all upper character. And if I submit it, I believe this should work. Yeah, it works out. So again, super simple in Python, but not in, and I give you a string, or I can do right, and then if the alpha is in word one, do, and if the alpha is in this, do this, right? So somebody's saying if we use replace method, we are unable to get the second one. Yeah, I think for the replace method, yes. This one you can't do it because you will have to get like a huge number. You'll have to like, yeah, you can't do it in the replace because I think it replaces the first instance only. It doesn't replace everything, right? So this is the case. Now again, just wanted to share that this is a not difficult. This is the Python way, and you can actually just print it in the Python way. Is this clear for everybody who uses Python? By the way, for Python people, is this clear? Then I'll go in the more, I don't know, non-Pythonic way. I'll try to tell you in C or Java or something. But for at least Python students, is this clear? Is this clear for Python students? If it's clear, do say clear. Okay, great. All right. So if you want to do it in a different way, okay, let's say for example you want to do it in C, and the Java code is pretty much similar as well, right? So if you want to do it in a different way, wherein you have to actually treat each element as a character properly, then the way you'd actually do it is there's one specific thing that you have to do. So let me just write this over here. There's one specific thing that you just need to take care of. Sorry, I'm doing a lot of mistyping. Void main. Yeah, this is the case. So let's say I did like in a hash input h void main. And let's say I did char word of 1000. Let me create 1,000 word, right? And let me go through the end. So let me also take input scanf modulo s word, right? Now I'm going to go through the entire word one by one. So I'll go for int I is equal to 0, word of I not equal to null. This is how you go through it in C. In Java, you'll go up till I less than string dot length, word dot length, right? That's where I'll go. So I plus plus over here. Right? Now, what I want to do is I want to check. What do I actually want to check? I want to check if, in the first case, I want to check if it's a vowel or not, right? So vowels are only 10 if you include uppercase as well. So if word of I equal to A, so this entire thing you're going to write, or word of I. So it'll be a little bit more over here, word of I equal to E. And again, it's better to write this as a function because you don't want your entire code to get problematic, but still, that's not a problem. Word of I is equal to O, A, E, I, O, U, A, E, O, U. Okay, I've missed I, so I over here, and capitals. So A, E, I, O, and U, right? So that's what. So it's a bigger condition, but still it's not too difficult, right? So if word of I is equal to this, don't do anything, or rather you have to go to print. You're going to print the quotes, and again to print quotes in Python, I just use single quotes and like single quotes on the outside and a double quote inside. Here, to actually print a double quote, I'm going to have to write something called as an escape sequence. So I'm going to have to write escape sequence, which is backslash the code. So it's going to print that. It's going to be print f, by the way. I'm going to print f this, right? And yeah, I'm going to do that. Else, I'm going to print word of I as is. I'm going to print f modulo c word of I, right, as is. So I'm going to do that. And then after this, I should print a new line ideally. So this was just for the first word, by the way. So this is just for the first word. Where are all these brackets pointing? That's for this one. Got it. Okay. This bracket, is it getting? Okay, this else should be inside. 1 second. Else this, right? So if I run it, I get, for Edyst, the capital E is replaced with quotes, which is fine, right? So I got at least for the first one. But here I had to write a much bigger one because I can't just do in. There's no in keyword in C, right? Now let me again take input the same. Now let me again take input for word 2, right? So I took word and I'll again do, but this time what do I need to do? I need to make sure that every consonant is replaced by an asterisk. So I have to take the consonant and replace by an asterisk. How would that work out? Well, if I look at a consonant, I know that it's none of these, right? So I can just say, word not equal to A and word not equal to E and word not equal to O. Or I can just put a not outside this, right? Ideally, I can just put a not over here. So if none of these are true, then only this will be true, right? If any one of this is true, this will become false. And I'm just going to put an asterisk over here. I'm going to put an asterisk here. Otherwise, print the word as is. Before I take an input, I'm also going to put backslash in here. Get it, right? Now, if I run this, so now even for Java, J and V have been replaced with asterisks. Now the last one is the difficult one. How can you convert something to uppercase? Let's say given good morning, how do you actually convert it to uppercase? Any ideas, anybody? In C, how do I convert this good morning to an uppercase? So any thoughts? Because upper, we just use the upper function over there, but here, how do I actually convert it to uppercase? Very good, ASCII value, right? Very nice, ASCII value. Yeah, ASCII value is much better. Two uppercase probably still there, but I would just say go with ASCII value. It's just a much better fundamental approach. Okay, so if that's the case, how do I actually use ASCII values? Like, how would I actually use it? If it's, how do I first of all know it's a lowercase element, and how do I actually use it? So again, if you guys are anytime thinking that what is the ASCII value of something, you know what? Just one thing you could do is print out, printf, right? Let me just print modulo d, right? I'll just try to print this out, right? Just to see what's the ASCII value of small a. I got 97 is the ASCII value of small a. So you don't actually, I mean, ideally you should remember it, but in case you forget, just use the coding compiler to get it. And ASCII value of Z is 122. Obviously, 97, 122 minus 97 plus 1. There are 26 characters. Right? What about capital A? For capital A, it is 65. So if I wanted to convert something to an uppercase, I need to take its ASCII value and subtract 32 from it. That is, I need to take 92 and convert 97 and convert it to 65. That's what I need to do. I'm going to take 97, convert it to 65 over here. So why it's not giving the right. Anyways, I'm going to take 97, convert it to 65, for example, which means that I need to subtract 32 from it, but only if it is a lowercase. So what I'll do is int, let's say current value is equal to int of word I. So now I got the ASCII value of this. If current underscore value greater than equal to 97, right, and current value less than or equal to 122, that means I know it's a lowercase character. If it is a lowercase character, what I'm going to do is print f modulo c. I'm printing the character current underscore value minus 32. I'm going to do this and print the character version of it. So whatever is the ASCII value of this, I'll print the character of that. Else, I continue as per my usual business, and I am just going to print this. I just print whatever is the value at that point, right? I'm going to do that, and after I'm done with this, I print backslash. Right? So I did this. Let me just run and check. Right? Okay, we got 65 in Java. Okay, that's because I'm still printing this. So if I remove this, now I'll get Java in again as a problem because I didn't take input again. Actually, I should have taken input again. So it's still treating the second word. I should do scanf modulo s. Now if I run it, it works out. This good morning became capital good morning, and if I submit it, it passes the test cases. Right? So did you understand both the ways? That is, I have done it using the predefined two upper, but the ASCII value is more robust in the sense that you don't need to remember any library function. All you just need to remember is the ASCII value, and that will automatically give you the uppercase. That is basically, you know how to convert an element from lowercase to uppercase using the ASCII values. All right, I hope that makes sense. If it does, please let me know. Please say yes. If you understand that, please do say yes. Okay. Okay. Got it. Any doubts? Let me know. I'll cover it up. Okay. Cool. So that's that. At string arrangement, let's look at this odd length pattern. Let's look at odd length pattern over here. Okay, this is interesting. Yeah, in fact, I'm not sure I remember. Okay, let's just look at it. This is the odd length pattern, right? Okay, I think this will make sense more for debug. So this is the pattern that's given to us. Let me just open it up. Yeah, here we go. So it's like this. It says, all right, it says if you get debug, first it's B, then BU, then BUG, then BUGD, then BUGDE, right? So you start from the middle for an odd length string. I'm going to start at the middle. I'm going to print first, middle and next, middle and next and next, middle and next and next and next, middle and next and next and next, and so on, right? I'm going to keep going till I finish the string from the start, right? That's what I'm going to do. So let's now in any pattern, what are the steps that I've advised? First of all, take your own input and try to see what happens. So this is for any pattern questions. Always take your own input and then try to understand what you're supposed to do. So for example, if I give you, let's say Edyst, the output is supposed to be, so let's say input is input is Edyst. The output is supposed to be first Y, YS, YST, YSTE, and then YST, YSTED. So you start from the middle you go the next one, and then the next one, and the next one, and so on. So you keep going like this, right? Okay. How can we solve this? There are multiple ways, right? One of the ways you can think of it is like, let's say I assign the indexes over here. So it's 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? These are the indexes. For example, here 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 over here, right? So if I have to look at it in that way, instead of printing it like this, I can say something like, I want to print index 3, sorry, index 2, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4. Now that I'm done with 2, 3, 4, I want to print index 0, and then I want to print 2, 3, 4, 0, and then 2, 3, 4, 0, 1. This is what I want to do. So finally speaking, like if I look at it, if I just make the the pattern over here, what I'm looking to print is in the first one, right? First one mid, then mid plus 1, mid plus, so mid, here I will print 2 elements, mid and mid plus 1. Here I'll print 3 elements, mid, mid plus 1, and mid plus 2. Okay. And then I'll go mid, mid plus 1, mid plus 2, mid plus 3. I'll keep printing. Now, how will I make sure that once it's reached the end, we can go back at the start? Right? Anybody has any idea? I print 2, I print 2, 3, I print 2, 3, 4. This I can do using a for loop, right? So I start at 2, go up till 2 only, then go 2, 2, 3, then 2, 3, 4. But then how do I go 2, 3, 4, 0? How can I get 0 after that? Then how can I get 2, 3, 4, 0, 1? How can I get that extra? Like, how do I get the starting part? What do you guys say? How can I end up getting that? Any ideas? Any ideas over here? I'll just wait. I know there's a small lag in the chat, so let me know. Any ideas over there? If you okay, very nice. Okay, somebody's saying that if I get the null character, then you start from the 0 position again. Not bad, right? The moment I get null character, I start from 0 position. That's not a bad point, right? Right. And another person is saying use modulo. I like the modulo approach. I really like the modulo approach. See, yeah, the modulo approach makes a lot of sense. See, for example, if I'm always printing, let's say modulo length, let's say for example, I know, for example, in the first one I have to print 1 element, and I print 2 elements, and I print 3 elements, then I print 4 elements, and so on, right? And I have to print length number of elements, right? Finally, I have to print 5 elements. I'll not print 6 elements ever because there are only 5 elements here. I'm not going to print 6 elements. Okay. So I'm going to print 1 element, 2 element, 3 element, 4 element, 5 element. I know my starting point is mid. So here I print mid. That's it. Right? So which is basically the index 2. Then I print 2 elements. That is index 2, index 3. Right? I can also call this as 2 modulo 5. I can also call this as 2 modulo 5, 3 modulo 5. And it's the same thing. 2 modulo 5 is 2 only, 3 modulo 5 is 3 only, right? So there's no problem there. Then I can put 2 modulo 5, 3 modulo 5, and 4 modulo 5. And that's also fine because 4 modulo 5 is 4 only. Now I need to print 4 elements here. So look at the magic. I say 2 modulo 5, 3 modulo 5, 4 modulo 5, 5 modulo 5, which is what? Which is 0 itself, right? Which is 0 itself. I wanted to print 4 elements. I'm going to print 5 modulo 5, which is 0. Yeah. Then I want to print 5 elements, which is this entire thing: 2 modulo 5, 3 modulo 5, 4 modulo 5, 5 modulo 5, and another one, which is 6 modulo 5, which will be 1. 6 modulo 5, which is nothing but 1. That's what it's going to be. So I can achieve the same result by just taking modulo length. By just taking modulo length, it will bring me back to 2 modulo 5 is 2, 3 modulo 5 is 3, 4 modulo 5 is 4, 5 modulo 5 will get me back to 0, 6 modulo 5 will get me back to 1. Right? So that modulo makes sure that that mid element is the offset is actually brought back. Right? So this makes it super simple. I should just start from the mid element and keep, like in the first one I'll print only one element, then I'll print two elements, but both of them modulo 5, right? Modulo length. Okay, so let me write the pseudocode for this. So if I had to write it like this, I'd say, okay, like approach over here, approach number one, first things first is if length is odd, then print no pattern, right? So that's the first thing that I'm going to do. After that, what we're going to do is, if it is an odd number, if length is odd, then I'm going to take some time, right? Not take some time, but actually I'll just say, okay, for I from 1 to less than equal to, not in 1, I'll say from 0 to less than length of the string, right? I'll print these many strings, and I'll again use a for loop here. So I'll say for j from, let me just move this below so that doesn't come in the way. So for j from 0 to less than equal to I, okay, I'm going to print word of I, sorry, word of j. Very specifically, one second, word of mid plus j. This is what I'm going to do, right? So what this one does is, this outer loop is for these bullet points 1 2 3 4 5. It's going to repeat it 5 times. If it's 6, then it's going to repeat it 6 times. 10, then repeat 10 times. 6 and 10 obviously they're even, so it's not going to repeat, but 11 is going to repeat 11 times. In the first iteration, what do I want to do? I want to print mid plus 0. Then I want to print mid plus 1. So I want to print mid plus 0 and mid plus 1. Then I want to print mid plus 0, mid plus 1, mid plus 2, mid plus 0, mid plus 1, mid plus 3, and so on, right? So I need a mid as well. So mid here is equal to length divided by 2, right? And it's mid plus j, the whole thing modulo length. The whole thing modulo length. That's a mid plus j, the whole thing modulo length. Are you understanding this part? Again, repeating. Let's say there are 5 characters. Mid will be 2. Now I have to repeat it 5 times. In the first instance, I just need to go from 0 up till 0, which means basically mid plus 0. Just print the mid element. In the next instance, I need to print mid plus 0 and mid plus 1. In the third instance, mid plus 0, mid plus 1, and mid plus 2. Fourth instance, mid plus 0, mid plus 1, mid plus 2, mid plus 3. And remember to take the modulo length, because the modulo length will bring it back. Modulo length will bring it back over here. You can also write an if condition. If it's greater than length, then subtract the length. You can do all of that stuff as well. But the modulo length just does exactly that. Right? So is the approach clear, everybody? Are you guys getting the approach first? If you got the approach, let me know. Please say yes. If you want me to repeat the approach, let me know, because then we'll code the approach. So do let me know if you've understood the approach over here. Clear? Okay. Super. So let's write the code for it. This is clear. Okay. Right. So I'll just write in Python again. Simple to do it in Java or C as well, because here there's no specific syntax that I'm going to use that you can't do it in others. We'll load it again. That's some issue. I'll just load it again. Stay hydrated, everybody. Hydration is good for your health. Drink lots of water. Okay. Cool. So here we go. Take word is equal to input. All right. Length is equal to len of word. So I first take the length of the word. If length is odd, or rather if length is even, modulo 2 is equal to 0. I simply print no pattern and we exit at this point, right? Else, and here is where I figure out what to do next, right? So if the length is odd, I first figure out the midpoint. So mid is equal to length divided by 2. This is the midpoint. Now I need to run two loops. One is for the number of elements themselves. So for I in range length, right? So this is like, because we're going to have 5 elements or 10 or 11 elements or 13 elements or so on. So for I in range length. For j in range, now here is a trick. I need to start from 0 and I need to go up till whatever I is, and I have to include I. So I'll do 0 till I plus 1. This is the only slight change in Python, because if I want to include I, it means that I have to do I plus 1, because it's always less than in Python. So it's 0 till I plus 1. So that's what I did. And I want to print word of id plus I, the entire thing modulo length. I'll do entire thing modulo length, and I'll not give any space right over here. Once it's done, sorry, once this particular word is done, yeah, this one is done, I'll print a new line over here. Okay, that's it. That's all. It's just a 10-line code. That's all. I run this. Okay. For ABADA, it's actually printing. I see. All right. So I think what's happened here is the extra space has come. So again, in Python, what you can do is you can just simply do input dot strip to avoid that extra space. All right. Cool. Now we're still getting an error. It's ADD. Okay, got it. So it should not be word mid plus I. It should be mid plus j. We made a mistake there. It should not be mid plus I. It should be mid plus j. Now if I run this, it works out. How did I know that I did mid plus I? Because it was when I do mid plus I, how did I figure out, how did I debug? Everybody look at this. I did A, D, D, A. So it was printing this, even though I'm repeating 3 times, that is J is changing. What I'm printing is not changing. Even though J is changing, what I'm printing is not changing, which means that it's not being dependent on J, means that I missed something in my J loop, right? That's how I debug this. So I went up and I said, yeah, this was supposed to be J, but I put I. Now I put J here. Now if I run this, it works out. And if I submit it also works out over here. Okay. This is TCS Ninja questions. And this is the level you should kind of expect in TCS questions. Any doubts so far? Is this clear, everybody? Is this question clear? There were a couple of other questions that are coming. Okay. Right. Again, somebody has a custom question, but to understand it fully, you'll have to send it to me on an email. Send it at team@edyst.com, and we'll be happy to cover that question. Even we'll upload it on the platform also, and we'll be happy to cover it on the platform. Okay, clear? All right, cool. So again, everybody, don't be afraid of the coding questions. If your basics are right, if you can think of the logic, then TCS Ninja level coding question you should definitely be able to solve. Okay. All right. Let's look at right arrow pattern. For those who are Edyst students, I have done right arrow pattern multiple times, so you might find this to be a repetition. But bear with us. There might be a couple of new students here, so I'll just look at right arrow pattern. Where can we get that? Second. Yeah, here we go. So this is what the right arrow pattern looks like. And again, as I always mention, there's a particular formula of how you can solve these kind of questions. Okay, so let's look at right arrow pattern right now. The pattern looks like this. If you give an input 5, it prints something like this. So always the first thing can, yeah, somebody saying, can I get the recordings kindly? The recordings already uploaded. All the recordings are on the Edyst platform itself. You simply need to go to all past classes and click view recording. That's all you need to do, right? So you'll be able to get it there. Just go to all past classes and click view recording. You'll get it. But anyway, coming back. So in any patterns question, in any patterns type question, what I need to do is I need to go to, I need to first take the particular pattern, at least the input or any other sample input that I have. I need to take that and I need to work with that first of all. Right. So for example, I took this, right, and let's say this input n is equal to 5, right? Now, when there are spaces in this, I always prefer, you guys must have also noticed, first things first is, I always prefer to replace the spaces with dashes. It just makes it easier to understand. So, 4 dashes here, dashes here, 8 dashes, 6 dashes. And just by this exercise of dashes, you'll start understanding something about your pattern. Okay. So now it just makes a little bit more sense. Let's look at it. Now, what I like to do is I like to first things first is your first step. There are 4 steps. Can anybody tell me what are the first 4 steps? On the chat, please let me know. What are the 4 steps when solving a patterns problem? Can anybody tell me? Anytime you're given a patterns question, what are the 4 steps? Just wait till you guys reply. All Edyst students should know this. What are the 4 steps when you're solving a patterns problem? Okay, somebody saying number of rows. Even before that, there is one step that I do. Divide the pattern into 3 parts. No, that's not that part. Okay, the first step that you should do is try with at least one other input. Try with another input. Right, that's the first thing. Then you check the number of rows. Then you check the number of columns. Right, and then you check what are we printing. Right, this is what you need to do. Try with another input. Check the number of rows. Check the number of columns, and then you check what are we printing. Okay, so for example, in this case, let me do n is equal to 6, right? No, I don't like to. So I know a lot of people say that make a square of the pattern and figure out. We can do it a little bit better. So I generally like to do it in another way. But yeah. So for example, n is equal to 6. What do you think will be the case for n is equal to 6? Well, I'll have 6 stars here for sure. Right. What else will I have? I will probably have one more row. Right. So I think this will be 2 only. There'll be another star here, I guess. And yeah, good point. What will it be for n is equal to 6? N is equal to 6. We will have, yeah, we will have like this, and 4, yeah, and this one here. And then we should have like this. And then we should have one more, which is like this, right? If I'm not mistaken, this is what it should be. Because if I look at 5, yeah, so this is will it be for 6, and then the remaining is just a reverse of the above, right? So if I again look at 5 over here, so it's again the same thing, but it's going to end with 2 stars, like that. It's just the reverse of the above. Right. So this will be the case if I'm assuming for n is equal to 6. Do you think so? 1, 2, 3. Did I miss something? I feel, yeah, I missed something somewhere. I do feel that. Yeah, there should be one more row here. Yeah, now it makes sense. Right. So this will be the case. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah. For n is equal to 5 and this for n is equal to 6. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. Okay. So the why I strongly advise you this is you get a feel for the pattern. So I tried with another input. Now, how many rows are there? For n is equal to 5, how many rows did we have? And for n is equal to 6, how many rows did we have? For n is equal to 5, I had the number of rows as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I had 9 rows. So n is equal to 5, I had 9 rows. And n is equal to 6, I had 11 rows. Which means that for any given n, I am having 2n minus 1 rows. I'm having 2n minus 1 rows. Now, the moment you have 2n minus 1 rows, you can start understanding that it's a symmetric thing. That means there is a symmetricity. The first half and the last half, right, are symmetric. The first half and the second half are sort of symmetric. They have some symmetricity around it. The moment you get that, what I like to do, what I advise all Edyst students to do is, this one anybody can print, right? It's not too difficult. Look at this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then so it's like whatever 10 over here and then 1 star, right? So you can do that. But assume, let's say, for example, that even if you print that, my point here is the first half, if you get it right, the second half is just a reflection of the first half. For example, let's say you call this as 0, 0th row, the first row, second row, third row, fourth row, fifth row, sixth row, seventh row, 8, 9, and 10. Okay. Actually speaking, the sixth row is nothing but the fourth row. Seventh row is nothing but the third row. The second row, this is the first row, and this is the 0th row, if you look at it. So if I figure out how to print till the 5th row, then I just need to print from the 4th till the 0th row. Again, if I can print, basically, if I give you a row number, and based on the row number, you are able to print the entire line, then I just need to reverse the row number order and I can get the same output. All right. Let me just show you as an example, right, what this means. For example, let's say I'm talking about row number 0. Let's look at how many spaces am I printing and how many stars I am printing. For 0, I have 0 spaces and I have 6 stars. For 1, I have 2 spaces and I have 5 stars. For 2, I have how many spaces? I have 4 spaces. Sorry, yeah, I have 4 spaces and 4 stars. For 3, I have 6 spaces, right? 6 spaces and 3 stars. For 4, I have 8 spaces and 2 stars. And for 5, I have 10 spaces and 1 star, right? Meaning that if I give you a particular I, for any I ranging from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, for any given I, how many spaces do I have? I can say that for any given I am always printing 2 into I spaces and n minus I stars, n being the input over there. So if I'm at 0, I print n minus I stars, 6 stars. If I'm at 1, I'll print 2 spaces, but 6 minus 1, 5 stars. If I'm at 2, I'll print 4 spaces, but 6 minus 2, 4 stars, right? Now notice this. Given a particular row number, I can give you row number 4, and I got 8 spaces, and I got 4 stars, right? Row number 4, I got 8 spaces and 2 stars, sorry. In the reverse also, row number 4 has the same thing. So I just need to go from row 0 to 5 and print in this way, and then go from row 4 to 0 and again print as a function of I, and I'll get the same answer over here. This is how to solve it. Again, I think I've covered this a lot of times previously, but I hope you all got the approach. If you didn't get the approach, please say repeat approach, so I know that I have to repeat the approach. But I'll see that if you guys have understood it. So I'll go ahead with the code. But if you didn't get it, please let me know and I'll repeat the approach. All right. So here what I'll do is I'll first take input n. N is equal to int input. This is the only thing we're given input. And what I have to do is I have to go from 0 to n minus 1 and then go from n minus 2 to 0. This is what I need to do. I need to go for I in range 0 to n minus 1, means I'll go till n because it will stop at n minus 1. Right? And I'll do something. I'll say print first half. And then I need to go for I in range. I need to go from n minus 2 to 0. Okay, again, just reiterating. For 6, I go 0 to 5 and then 4 to 0. So 0 to n minus 1 and then n minus 2 to 0. So I go from 0 to n minus 1 and then n minus 2 to 0. So in Python, I write it like this, minus 1, which is start at n minus 2, go till 0. That means I have to go till greater than minus 1. There is no equal to in Python limits. So I go to greater than minus 1 and you need to decrement by minus 1 every time. This is what I do over here. Okay. And here I'll print 7. Okay. So now what do I actually print at this point? I just print spaces is equal to 2 into I, and the stars I am printing is equal to n minus I. This is what I do. So I'm going to print spaces into this much spaces plus stars into these many stars, right? And here also the same thing. Here also same thing. Space and star are determined in the same way. Spaces and star are determined the same way in both the case. Only the limits are changing. So if I run this now, you can see that for 3 it passes the test cases, and if I submit it, passes all the test cases. Did you simple way? Type of patterns. Always try to print the first half, get the first half correctly, but make sure it's a function of I. It's a function of the row number. The moment you've got it as a function of the row number, that is based on I just need to reverse the order of I. Right? That's the thing. Okay, somebody's saying repeat the space and star topic. Okay. This part, if I just talk over here, do you notice that for the 0th row, I'm printing 0 spaces and 6 stars. For the first row, I am printing 2 spaces and 5 stars. Right? For the second row, I'm printing 4 spaces and 4 stars. Which means that for any given I, just by following this pattern, for any given I, I'm going to print 2 I spaces and n minus I stars. Right? Did you understand this? How I got this 2I and n minus I? Person who asked me to repeat, please tell me, did you understand this part? Okay, do let me know. Okay, you got it? Okay, super. Sorry, there's a small lag over here. That's why. All right. So if you understood this part, this code is just a repetition of that, right? I'm going from 0 to n. This is just the limits. You may be a Java coder, so you can do it in Java. But the point is, this is how we do it. Now, in Python, I can print like this. In Java or C++, I cannot do spaces into that. I will actually have to write a for loop to print that many spaces. I'll have to write another for loop to print the stars number of spaces. Stars, right? So I'll have to write 2 for loops within the first for loop, and in the second one also I'll have to write 2 for loops within the second for loop, and that's how I can do this. Okay, so I hope you guys understood the code. If you did, please say clear. Please say clear if you understood the code over here. This is the odd length pattern. Right. So somebody saying, sir, for TCS NQT Python may or may not work. What is your advice on that one? Right. What is your advice? Because Python may not work. Number one, I think first of all, by now they should have improved the Python compiler because it's become everybody's been talking about it. Right. So I hope that they have improved their Python compiler by now. Secondly, honestly, like uh, yeah, absolutely correct. Python doesn't have a compiler. Just to even start with, Python as an interpreter, it doesn't even have a compiler. Python is not a compiled language. Python is an interpreted language. So thank you so much for that. Let's be very correct over here. So let's talk about the Python environment given to us in TCS Ninja. If you talk about the Python environment, over the last few years, it has got a bad reputation. However, last to last year, students were able to write code in Python and it passed the test cases. So just because of that, don't change your language, especially if you don't know the other languages. Some questions were actually very simple to do in Python last time. There were some questions which were so simple, and if you had done it in Python, it would hardly be 5 minutes. So if you are a Python student, just go ahead with Python. And most of our students are. That's why I'm saying go ahead with Python. Don't worry about it. I don't think it should be too much of an issue. Just be a little bit more clear with your logic and don't try to run it too many times. Not because they penalize you, but because running Python might just take time for them. Right? That was the issue. So try to get your code a little bit perfect towards the start itself. You'll not get so many tries with them. But if your logic is correct, you don't need that many tries also. Okay, so that's my advice to you over there. Let's look at this last question called as count duplicates. Right, let's look at that question. Count duplicates. Remember everyone, I think that there's a bunch of people watching us on YouTube, so do subscribe to the channel if you're watching on YouTube. And even if you're not watching on YouTube, if you're watching on the Edyst platform, hope you've subscribed to the Edyst YouTube channel. We're pretty close to 30,000. Help us reach 30,000. That will be great. Is there any recording? Yeah, this entire thing is being recorded. The moment you stop, we stop this, you can go and say view past recording, and you'll be able to get it. Sir, what are the important data structures for TCS Ninja coding round? Generally speaking, I have not seen them ask any data structure type questions. If they ask, stacks questions could be asked, if at all, because that is the simplest type of questions. That also, like infix to postfix type is what they're going to ask, but I have not seen them ask stacks type data structures questions. I don't expect it, but if you had to study stacks and study infix to postfix, I think that would be good. Another type of question is next larger element. Try to study that. That would be great. Okay, some people are asking for recording, so I'll just show you how the recording works on Edyst platform. So let's say, for example, this is, I just close this. I go to whichever cohort I'm in, right? And second, right? So I go here, and on the right side you see all past class. You see live classes. You see all past classes, right? So I'm in a bunch of classes, so I get a lot of classes over here. But you see all this view class button. That's it. That's all you need to go. There's a view class. The moment you click that view class, you'll get the recording. So yesterday's class, for example, if I click this view class, you'll get the recording. Right. Can you please give hint how to solve C pointers questions? Sure thing. So anyway, this is yesterday's recording. You can watch it over here, and I can click play and I can watch the recording. Right, this is yesterday. Obviously, this is only for Edyst students and Edyst paid students. So if you don't get this option, then that's maybe because you either not an Edyst student or not an Edyst paid student. That might be the case. Can you please give me hints on how to solve C pointer questions? Yeah, please attend tomorrow's session. We are going to discuss a lot about C pointers. So please do check it out. Right. Please be there for tomorrow's session. Right. And even if you're not, you can watch the recording, obviously. But yeah, I'm going to discuss a little bit about pointers tomorrow. Okay. Write a program to count the duplicates of the given string. Yeah. Take string from std and display the duplicate characters from the count of the character. Right. So this is a good question in the sense that if you're a Python student, you can use dictionary. If you're a C student, then, or rather just a C student, then this becomes tricky on how you're actually going to write it, because there is no like support for dictionary and so on, right? So that's the thing. And I need to figure out basically how many duplicates are there, right? So that's another thing. So yeah, how can we actually do that? how can we print this? Multiple ways. All right, so multiple ways in terms of, so I'll tell you the question also. For example, if you look at the word, let's start from basics, right? Let's say you're given the word Google, right? Here there are two alphabets that are repeating twice. G is repeating twice, O is repeating twice. So we print G2, O2. But if you look at Edyst, none of the alphabets are repeating twice, right? None of them are repeating twice. So you have E, D, Y, S, T, none of them. So you print not exists. Bad grammar, but what it is what it is. So it gets not exists over here. So I just need to go, what I need to do is, let's think of the approach. What would be the approach here? Right, so let's say I'm thinking of the approach. Approach would be like, okay, first of all, I need a way of figuring out the duplicates, and I need to write duplicates colon 2, right? So I need to figure out how many duplicates are there, and it has to be duplicates only. By the way, what happens if it's like triples? They've not mentioned that, and that's not a duplicate as such, right? So it needs to be only 2. I need to figure out how many elements come 2 times, right? 2-3 ways of doing it, okay? But what are those 2-3 ways? Okay, one way that you can do it is, you can say that, okay, I will go through the word for each character, find the count of occurrences, right? Find how many times it occurs. In Python, you can do this easily using the count keyword. In C, how do you do it? I'll show it to you. But in Python, you can do it using the count keyword, right? Then what I'm going to do is, I'm going to say, okay, if frequency is 2, add it to list of answers. So if frequency is 2, add it to the list of answers, right? That means these are the ones that have occurred twice. Now the thing is, the next time you come across it, you don't want to again include it, right? So you could use a set to make sure that it's always unique. That's one thing you can do. Another thing is, you can do is, if frequency is 2 and is not in the answer list, then you add it to the list of answers. If it's already not in the answer list, then you add it to the list of answers. Finally, print list of answers. For example, let's say I have the keywords. So let's say I have something like Google, right? So I take G first. How many times does G occur? Using the G dot count, using the dot count method, I can say that, okay, G occurs twice. So I'll have answer as, I'll append G into this. I'll append G into this. O comes, O also occurs twice. I'll append O into this, right? G, then again O comes, but I'll check O's frequency is 2, yes, but it already has occurred in the list, so I will not add it. Again, G occurs, G's frequency is 2, yes, but it's already occurred in the list, so I'm not going to add it. L and E are not going to qualify. So if I apply this approach, which is basically like word is equal to input, say let's put dot strip here. Okay. So word is equal to input dot strip, and what am I going to do? I'm going to say, okay, go through each word. So it's equal, let's say blank here. I'm going to go through each word for alpha in word or for character in word, whichever you want to call it. I'm going to go through each thing and say, if word dot count of alpha is equal to 2, if it's specifically a duplicate, and alpha not in answer. If it's not in the answer, then only do answer dot append alphabet, right? So count alpha is equal to 2, like the duplicates, and the alpha is not in the answer, then you append it to answer over here. Then all I need to do is print answer. Now print answer is also not the correct option, because what you need to do is, I need to print it specifically G2 and O2. So I'll say for let's say I in answer, print what is it? What's the exact pattern? Yeah, colon 2, right? So we're going to print I, we'll print it like this, right? So now it works out here, and if I submit it, this should work. So this is okay. It's not working for any of the cases. Interesting. All right. In which case is it just greater than equal to 2 repeated elements? Okay, not working there also. Interesting. Does that mean that we have to sort it? All right, 1 second. Let me just check the right answer that's supposed to come. Yeah, so it's passing some test cases, and yeah. Okay, so it's not a sort issue. Yeah. Let me just check the. Oh, we didn't do not exists. We didn't do not exists. That's why. Yeah, we didn't do the not exist part. If answer is blank, if len of answer is equal to 0, that means we found no element. We have to print not exists. This is the edge case, everybody. Not exists. We have to do this, right? Else, do this. So again, the question is not just about duplicates. Rather, it is whichever element is multiple. It's coming multiple times. You have to print the count of how many times it's occurring. To print the count of how many times it's occurring actually. So I submit it, and now it prints out. Okay. So this is one way of doing it. You can see is much better, right? That's the way. But again, some of you might be thinking, how do I do this in C? Because this append is very, flexible. I can do append, but if I don't have append, what do I do? So I'll come to the C part. I'll show you how you can do it in C. But all of those you are Python students. Are you able to get this? Are you able to understand this part? Is there any part you want me to repeat in this code over here? Any part you would like me to repeat? Clear? Okay. Others, please also let me know. One student says clear. Others? Can you please repeat once the if condition? Sure. So the if condition is basically like, I want to know if this particular alphabet has come more than 2 times or not. Right? Means that is it a duplicate element? If it's come only 1 time, then I don't want it. So like in Google, when I count G comes 2 times. O comes 2 times, G comes 2 times, but L comes only once. So I don't count it. Also, if I've already included G once, I don't want to include it again. So again, when I'm building the Google, G comes, I append G. O comes, I append O. O again comes, I don't want to append O again. I don't want to append O again. I'll append it only, once. That's it. I don't want to append it twice. That's what I'm doing. So I check if it's already not there, then only add it. Okay. Does that answer your question for the if condition? So as long as the count is more than 2, and it's also not been considered previously. Somebody saying, can we use list comprehension? Yeah, I think there's a smart way of using list comprehension here as well. Okay. What is F? So F is F strings. There's a particular way to print in Python. Basically, what F strings does is you give the string that you want to print, and wherever you give curly braces, it will substitute that value. For example, if I don't give curly braces here, right, it's going to print this as it is. It's going to print I dot word dot count I. But if I give curly braces here, it's going to substitute the value only because it's an F string. Because it's an F string, so it's going to substitute that value. If I remove this F, it will print it as is. It's not going to substitute that value. So what this F does is it prints whatever is in the curly braces. It's called F strings. in Python. I hope that answers your question, right? Is it like string literals? Not specifically like a string literal. It's it's more like a string replacement. It's a way of printing it. You can replace it. So it's, if I give you a string and I want to replace this with the variable I, instead of printing I, for replace with variable I need to give f over there. I need to give curly braces. If I give the curly braces, whatever is enclosed in curly braces is going to be replaced with that particular variable. Okay, correct. All right, so this is how you do it in Python. In C, it's going to be a little bit different, right? If in C, it's going to be slightly different over here. So let me just show it to you in C as well. For those of you wondering, sir, I'm not a C student. Yeah, but this will help you in your get the output type questions. In MCQ, they're going to ask you this, right? So again, let me just write the standard stuff. stdio.h, void main, right? Okay. Now, what are we doing? We are first taking the input. We want the entire input over here, which is the word basically. So I'd say char word. Let me just give it as 1000 elements. Okay. Let me take the input, the word scanf modulo s word. Let me find the length, the old-fashioned way for let's say int length. Then I'll just write length is equal to 0. Word of length not equal to null character. Length plus plus. I put a semicolon here. So this will end the moment the word of length is equal to a null character, right? So we'll get the length of this. This is a way of find length of string. Okay. So I got that. Now the question here becomes, I'll go through this entire string, but A, how do I find out how many times an element has occurred? And B, how do I know if we've already considered it before or not, right? So we can kind of do the same thing, but now we just have to write out those functions. Instead of using the Python in and all of that, I can actually write out the functions. Let me show you what I mean. For int I is equal to 0. In fact, do we even need to, yeah, we don't even need to find the length, but still we did. So I less than length, I plus plus. What I'm going to do is, if count of, and we'll define a function called count. So if count of word of I, comma, if count of word of I is word of I in word, right, is greater than equal to 2, right, and word of I, rather, and does not exist word of I in, oh, by the way, this, yeah, this is correct. Word of I is correct here, word of I, and it does not exist word of I in, let's say, answer. So let's also create an answer word here. Char answer 1000, let's say, right? And int, say, count is equal to 0. What this is going to do is it's going to count how many answers we found so far, right? So say, and this does not exist in answer so far. I have to pass the count over here. Then what you're going to do is you're going to say, okay, answer of count is equal to or rather is equal to, yeah, word of I, and I'm going to print f. We'll just print here itself. What am I going to print? Modulo C is to modulo D. I'm going to print word of I, and I'm going to print count of this. So roughly the same logic, everybody. Logic is same. Let me explain this entire logic to you. Okay, don't worry. Yeah, and print \n. I'm done with one of them. Okay, let me tell you again. We are going to write a count function. What this count function is going to do is figure out how many times word of I occurs in word. That's what this count function is going to do, right? And we are going to maintain another character array called answer. Initially, the count is 0 for this one. Let's not do count over here. Actually, let's say number of answers, right? Like that will be better because we already have a count function. So let's say num of answer over here. So and num of answer, and here is that num underscore answer. So this counts the number of answers received so far. So what it's going to do is it's going to count if it's greater than equal to 2, and word of I does not exist in answer given that we have these many number of answers. Then only you add it to word of I, you add it to the number of answers, and then you increase the number of answers received so far. Okay. So for example, let's again take Google, right? So we'll again take Google over here. So we'll again take Google, but this time Google is an array of characters because it's C. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I take this Google. In my answers, what I'm going to do is answer is firstly a blank element, right? It's all like there are 1,000 possible places I can put, but initially nothing is there. I take G, I'll count. How do I count? I'll write another function for that, but I'll count that there are two. Are there more than 2 elements? Yes, there are. Insert G at index 0 because you have currently 0 answers. You have 0 answers, so answer of number of I is equal to word of I. G, then do number of answers plus plus. So your number of answers is here. Your pointer is here. Next comes O. Does O occur twice? Yes, it does. Right. So again, insert it here at index 1. Number of answers plus plus. You have 2 answers so far. Right. Then when G comes again, you will check that does it exist or not. So it says greater than or equal to 2 and not exist. If it doesn't exist in answer, only then I'm going to append. It does exist in answer, so I'm not going to add to this array over here. Okay. I hope you guys got it. I hope you guys got the logic. I have to write 2 functions right now, count and not exist. I have to write 2 functions. And what I'm doing is the moment I find a particular answer, I'm printing it there and then. Instead of again going through the answers and printing it, I'm printing it there and then. So did you guys understand this? Did you guys understand this part? Let me know if there's a particular line you want help in. Just tell me the line number. I'll help you out with that. Let's write the 2 functions here, which would be int count. We need, what are we counting? We're counting character C, right? In a particular character array, which is the word. Okay, we're counting how many times character C occurs in word. So I'll say int, let's say answer is equal to 0 initially for int I equal to 0, I less than word of I not equal to null I plus plus, right? I go through the entire thing and I say if word of I equal to C, it's equal to that particular character, then all I need to do is answer plus plus, and I'm going to return the answer. Right? So this is the number of times C occurs in this word string. I go from 0, go up till it's null I plus plus. If word of I equal to C, answer plus plus. Java students, same thing. Instead of word of I not equal to null, word of I or other I less than word dot length. Otherwise, it remains the same, right? So that's this, and I have to also write not exists. So int, one second. Not exist will be a 1 or 0. So I'll say not exist. So I'll return 1 if it doesn't exist. So int not exist. Int number in an integer array. Int limit. That is, we're telling you how many numbers are even there in this integer array, and not even integer array, sorry, in this character array, right? And not int number, sorry, we are saying character C. So we're saying, does this character C even occur in this array or not? So we'll go for int I is equal to 0, I less than limit. Why limit? Because I have only that many answers. So I'm going to check only that many numbers. There's no point taking beyond that. I plus plus. But I'm going to check if C equal to ARR of I. We can keep this as word also, just to make it simpler. Word of I. If C is equal to word of I, that means there is a character that is equal. Then I can just return 1 here itself. I'll return 0 here itself. That means it does exist. I want to return 1 only if it doesn't exist, right? So I'll return 0, no, it does exist. If I went through this entire thing and did not find a single one, then I'm going to say return 1. Okay. So doesn't exist, true, because I went through the entire thing, I couldn't find a single one, right? So that's my second function. Now, this is what I like to do generally. I like to write my core logic here and then delegate it to the functions. So I wrote the two logics here, like the two things here, and then the functions will take care of it, the main logic. So we did that. If I run it, all right, let's see what are the issues. Line 27. Is this causing some issue? I don't think the comment caused an issue. Okay. Add C word int count. Oh yeah, sorry. Match include should be before that. Add word again. So should it be? I made a mistake here. Should this be char word? And I think there's some small. Yeah, now it works. Sorry, the placement of the brackets was wrong. In Java you can do that, char word or char word brackets, but in C you cannot do that. Right? And if I submit it, okay, doesn't pass any test case. Interesting. Let's see what's the issue over here. Right. Word of I, count of word of I in word, and not exists equal to 1. So if it doesn't exist, then only I'm returning 1. Okay, let's see what could be the issue. 1 second. Okay, all right. There is some problem here. Printf this, and then I'm printing \n here. So I just print \n here itself instead of waiting. That actually doesn't make sense. Yeah, we again missed the edge case. All right, cool. We missed the edge case again, but some test case should have passed. Yeah. Right. Okay. All right. If yeah, we'll just write it here. If num underscore answer is equal to 0, printf not exists. Right. But again, we missed. We're missing some test cases still. There's still a problem. Okay. I don't know. That's the issue. So yeah, it was the edge case. Yeah, even I miss the edge cases sometimes, but yeah, that's the thing. So that was the edge case problem. Cool. Make sense, everybody? Right? Any part in this you want me to repeat again? So I told you both the shortcut Python way, told you the long cut C way as well. Right? Does it make sense, everybody? Do you all understand? Is there any issue? If it's clear, do say clear. Please say clear. Okay, super. So tomorrow, so we'll wrap it up here. Okay. Tomorrow we are going to discuss a lot about pointers. Final revision. I see that some people have already sent in some problem statements. We'll look at your problem statements. Okay, so we'll look at your particular problem statement, whichever you have sent. Okay, we'll look at pointer MCQ questions. right? And yeah, final revision. We'll do any final revision of final revision of some important topics that we're going to take up. So that's what we're going to do tomorrow. Meanwhile, again, reach out to us at team@edis.com for any doubts. All obviously mentors are also there, so they can also help you. But reach out to us at team@edis.com. We'll take up any doubts and questions that you have. And yeah, if you want to watch the recording of this, available on the Edyst platform. Obviously, you need to be an Edyst student or an Edyst paid student, either of those, and you can get the recording of this. Okay, cool. That's pretty much it from our side. Right. Happy Ganesh Chaturthi, Vinayak Chaturthi to all of you. And that's tomorrow, but in advance to all of you. And I'll catch you all tomorrow. I know it's a festival and all, but Ninja is fast approaching. So I'll do a quick revision. Will not take too much time. I don't want to spoil your festival as well. Let's enjoy the festival also. But yeah, I hope you're all safe and sound for that, and following all the protocols as you're supposed to. Okay, that's it from our side today. Thanks all for joining in. Reach out to us on our email for any other questions, right? And I'll cover them up in tomorrow's session. Okay, all right. Thank you all, and I'll catch you all next time. Thank you so much.